We're in a game of League, and I'm about to show you how to win your games as SIVIR. What is up, guys? My name is MipZ, and welcome back for yet another League of Legends video. So today we are playing a none other than the boomerang swinging SIVIR. So this champion is one of those champs that I think is very good both for new players and also mediocre, and even a bit for advanced as well, to kind of pick up every now and then. She actually does have states in the game or patches where she does really well. We've seen Reckless, one of the most famous ADCs, use her several times, and she is absolutely freaking awesome. So the thing with SIVIR is that she's one of those ADCs that kind of, you don't really pick her because she's she's not a hyper carry. She's not someone that you, generally speaking, will hard carry games with, but she is what we call a utility ADC. And a utility ADC is basically that she's really, of course still has good damage, etc., but a big part of what she does is that she can really help out her team to do better, help her teams reach the backline, etc. Anyway, we'll get much more into all this stuff throughout the game. For those of you who are new in here, then what I will be doing in this video is I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play SIVIR in the early, mid, and late game, the overall game strategy. We'll also talk a little bit about a few of the mechanics as they become necessary, but overall we'll just go through the strategy. I'll be using the game here as an example. It is a live gameplay, so I'm going to use this as a kind of a way for you guys to get a ticket into my brain of how I think and what I think about when playing this champion, and how you should perceive this champion. So anyway, I hope you guys are excited for this one. If you are, make sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help me out. And don't forget to subscribe down below if you are new in here. I would love to have you as a part of our awesome community. And lastly, if you want to hang out with me live, go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. But yeah, let's just jump kind of into this one. So first and foremost, why do you want to pick SIVIR? Well, first of all, she has really great wave clear, which can synergize really good with some teams that otherwise will struggle with it. So you can pick her for that potential part of the team composition, that her wave clear is insanely good. Then she is, as I kind of teased, she is a utility ADC, meaning that, whoop, let's just get some of this poke in. We might actually be able to get a kill here. There we go. Get the heal off. We can actually probably get the second one here. Should be able to get him. I am going to flash for that. There we go. Nice. All right. A little sad that the Lux also used her flash, because we would have gotten it regardless. And the kill would probably have been better on us, but whatever. It's fine. We got it. That's the most important thing. But very nice. She helps us to just shove this now, so we can go for a quick back in a second. All right. Let's get the last one there, and let's back off. All right, so SIVIR has great wave clear. She is what we call utility ADC. We'll talk much more about specifically what that is and what that means for SIVIR as a champion. But basically, that's like two of the primary things with her. Secondly, or thirdly, or whatever you say, she has this thing with that she's quite easy to master. Like, her kit is not difficult. I'm gonna say this right away. Her abilities are very simple, and you might sit and think, oh, that sounds a little bit tedious. Why do I want to play it then? Don't, ADC is a very difficult role in general. Probably, in my opinion, the hardest role that you can play. And for that reason, having a simple ability kit is one of the best things that you can do, because it allows you to simply focus on the necessities of your champion. And of your positioning and all this stuff, instead of using all of your energy on literally things that, imagine it this way. If you're playing a champion that's mechanically difficult, let's say a champion like Riven. Riven is an extremely good champion, but because she's so mechanically difficult to master, make sure that you do the right combos, make sure you get your autos in between, etc. And then there's a lot of room for errors. With SIVIR, there isn't that much room for errors, because there isn't that much variety in when you want to use your abilities. It's fairly obvious, and it will be, especially as we talk it through here. you'll really get an understanding of what I mean, that she is a very, very, very simple champ, which is one of her big advantages. And one of the things that I also tell people, especially if they're new to the game, that picking a champion that is very simple is not a bad thing at all, because it will allow you to focus that much more on everything else. Can't believe I keep stepping in these traps right now. And yeah, as I've said before also, these games are not made to show you guys the perfect gameplay. I'm trying to make them more entertaining, and I'm doing this live, so mistakes will happen. I will make sure to kind of explain to you, if I make mistakes, what we should have done instead of what I did. But I will try as much as we can to make sure that we get fed and I can show you guys the full potential of the champion. All right. So a big part of playing SIVIR is actually learning how, or making sure that you use the fundamentals of playing ADC, meaning good positioning, understanding when to auto attack, understanding how to help out your teammates. And the cool thing about SIVIR, because of her utility, her ult specifically that gives movement speed to all of her teammates, etc., then she has this very, very insane potential in terms of allowing her frontline bruisers, etc., to dive the enemy team. Whoop, let's get this kill. Nice. All right, we might still be able to get this with a little bit of luck. All right, very close. All right, so let's shove this. She has this insane potential, which really allows her to win. Like, the thing is, when you pick this champion, you pick her pretty often together with a bruiser team, like with a good frontline bruiser that can dive in on the enemy backline. And then when the fight kind of erupts, you use your ult to give them this momentum, kind of like a Kled ult. You can think of it kind of the same way. It has a very similar usage. Also, you can of course use it to disengage from a fight, and it is an extremely good utility to use to help your team. So you're picking this champion to kind of overall help your team. You do have really good damage. That's not what I'm not saying, or I'm not saying that she doesn't have good damage. I'm just saying that in late game, most other ADCs will damage wise, DPS wise, actually outscale SIVIR. In the early game, however, SIVIR is extremely good, and she's a very safe champ, and a champ that's very easy to stay consistent on. So yeah, that's kind of the overalls of why you're picking this champ. Also in team fighting, if you can hit your boomerang on several targets at once, it can really be absolutely devastating for the enemy team, and it can actually win you a fight, even though SIVIR is not the best scaling champ at all. She really isn't. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how to specifically play the early game, what we want to be thinking about. So first of all, SIVIR, as I said, is actually a pretty good early game champ. She has absolutely ridiculous damage on her boomerang. You see just here, we literally took off like a third, 1/4 ish of the Pantheon's HP just from using our Q. This thing has extremely long range, and you can see how we can even out-trade a Caitlyn as she uses her Q on us. Like, we literally just absolutely melt her. Right here, like, I could potentially go for a flash play, flash over here and Q her before Pantheon would even get to jump on me. The only reason why we're not doing so, because it's a little bit risky. Also, our ult is extremely good. You see right here, we should be able to can actually do this. Whoop. We can use our shield against Pantheon. And this is like a super aggressive play, but you could see that potentially if I played this right, we could very easily force an engage and probably have killed, but I absolutely messed it up. But you can do pretty cool plays. Your shield is like the biggest, like the most forgiving thing in the game, pretty much. Like, this thing is absolutely ridiculously good, because this one gives you, your shield allows you to absorb any kind of spell. Right here we did it on the Pantheon jump, the stun. Not only does it completely neglect the ability that hits, but it also puts you in a situation where you actually get mana back, which actually just is more sustained for you. So in this way, it's just an absolutely ridiculous ability that I strongly recommend everybody to try this champ out eventually, because it will put you in a position where if you have, I see a lot of, especially lower rated ADCs, really struggling against champs like Blitzcrank, Thresh, these kind of things. And having a champ like this one in your toolkit for whenever the enemy picks that, you can just take her. And it's so easy. I promise you, it is the easiest champ to deal with that stuff. Because whenever Blitzcrank grabs you, guess what? You click your E and you literally don't get grabbed. It's that easy. And you get mana back. It's so difficult for people to deal with SIVIR in lane because she's very simple. She has a very good kit. She has extremely good shoving potential, meaning that you can very easily push people under the turret if need be. Like, she's just overall such a good, consistent ADC. And you can see, even as we're just poking using our W on minions, we're literally just absolutely like taking off half of her HP by hitting on minions. So really, like, this champion, I cannot emphasize enough, even though she's very simple, she's actually a champion that will really allow you to consistently do well in lane, and at the same time it's really going to be helping out your team as we get into the mid to late game if you use it correctly and if you think about some of the things that we're talking about in this game. All right, so let's talk about what the kind of different lanes we have on SIVIR, what we want to be doing. So generally speaking, with SIVIR, most matchups you will be able to just shove them under turret and then poke them using your boomerang. This is actually extremely good and something that you definitely do want to do from time to time. The thing you gotta be very aware of whenever you do this is that, whoop, right here, there's a free kill. Most likely. You see again, we just instantly, there we go. Even though I mess up, we literally just get it so easy. I thought I actually eat his stun. I was actually a little too slow. Right here, she's not respecting our range. So it's like, yeah, you can see how much they're struggling. And it's not because I'm doing absolutely ridiculously good. I'm actually doing, in my opinion, for me, this is not I'm not doing great in this game at all. But it just shows how easy the champ is to use and kind of deal with in this sense. It's really hard for the enemy to do much. All right, so we'll just back off and we'll finish off our Kraken Slayer, which is going to be a huge item for us. So we'll grab that one, or we need a boots, and we're going to start building Essence Reaver as the next thing. All right, so in laning phase, you're most of the time probably going to be having an advantage against most things because her kit is so consistent. And this is one of the good things about playing SIVIR. She's very easy to farm with, she has great wave clear, and it's very easy to stay consistent. And she's very safe because of her shield, her increased movement speed, etc. Like, she's just very, very consistent. But yeah, if you like this game, get pushed on their turret, just make sure you get your farm up, do well. Look for whenever you hit a snare or a stun from your teammate or your jungler comes in, pop your ult in those scenarios and run them down. Of course not if you're super low, but like, yeah, if you see a good chance of actually winning the engage, then you should be going for those, because it is pretty often that you will. Even when you are farming on the turret, you can use your Q, or you should use your Q, to try and poke your enemies down a little bit. Use the repositioning, and you can see right here, we're just gonna go ahead, smash this. And a really good peel off from Pantheon, but he will die from this. And if he jumps, okay. If he jumps again, then we'll just E his jump. We can potentially, whoop. Gonna heal this guy. And right here, as I get out from this, I'm gonna have to absorb this. I'm gonna try and use my ult, try and kite away. I am most definitely gonna die here if I don't... The thing is, I need this guy to snare. All right, right here. This might be my way out. Nope. Oh, okay. We're trying to kind of cheese a way out of this one. What I was trying to do is I was really hoping my Lux would hit a snare, and then I could just Q and would actually kill Katarina. Like, if I kept running this way, there was no way out. So my best scenario is try and drag her away, maybe find either Lux a way to get out or to use a snare. But unfortunately, it didn't end as well as I would like it to. But with a bit of like cooperation, if this had been a pre-made, we would definitely been able to pull this off. But yeah, In terms of laning phase, then try and hold the lane either in the middle or shove them on their turret if possible. When you have them on their turret, just sit and try and poke using your Q. If you run out of mana and you're playing against a low risk combo, so someone that really struggles to kill you, then try and just bait out some kind of ability on yourself and spell shield it. This will give you mana back so you can keep using your Qs. Like bad opponents will be very easy to bait this out, and if you're playing below gold, they will definitely just do it without thinking. So also think of your E not only as a get out of jail free card, but also as an ability that you can use to sustain longer in lane by giving you mana back. So that's basically kind of a big part of the early game, is just use your W on minions whenever the enemy is close to try and poke the enemy down, and use your Q on enemies as well. You can see just here how much damage we're dealing. I actually did not notice this guy. Again, we kind of need a snare on a target. Nice. All right, so she will die. This is really 100%. Yeah, okay. I should have used my ult earlier to try and help Lux get away faster. And they are putting a lot of focus, and my team's not really reacting. So, like, it's kind of a rough lane right now because of this, but it has nothing to do with what we're actually playing against. It just has something to do with their entire team, both their top laner and their mid laner going bot side, while my team is kind of just sitting AFK in their lanes. Yeah, it's hard to deal with. I could have played some of these engages better for sure, but the point being is, despite all of this, we're actually doing really well in the lane overall. And yeah, as you guys can see, even though I'm not playing my best at all, this is by no means close to, you can see how freaking easy she is, both to farm with and also just to like poke your enemies down. Like your Q does so much damage. Just try and hit it where it doesn't hit several targets before, so you hit your enemies clean. So maybe if you're trying to go into a bush and fire off, whoop, I see you, dude. Right here, this guy is completely disrespecting us. All right, there. That's going to be a free kill. Thank you. That's going to be a freebie. You can see whenever somebody jumps you, just, yeah, you have your E. It's like, it's so freaking good. It's so good. And so, like, she's a really fun, even though she's a simple champ, she's really fun to use. Like, she really is. And what you want to be trying to do is, generally speaking, you can see even here we can use or E onto a trap, and that actually gives us mana back. That's a cool trick against something like a Caitlyn, is you can literally just use her traps to give yourself mana back if need be. One of the things you need to know with your Q, with your boomerang, is what you want to aim to do is you want to try and max distance your Q. And you might look at me and be like, why do I want to max distance it? What does that specifically mean? Well, max distance means that we want to try and make our target appear at the very end, like hit it at the very end of our Q. The reason why we want to do so is because of the fact that if we hit them at the end of it, they won't be able to dodge the second part of the W. Right here, I'll just pop ult. We'll make sure that we do get some of these. I'm going to be a little careful here because they might turn. We see Katarina on our side. They can very easily do something insane there. And this Aurelia is fairly fed. Right here, I'll instead go and get a little bit of extra farm. But the reason why you want to max distance your Q, generally speaking, especially in laning phase, is because whenever your boomerang goes out, it deals damage on the way out and on the way back. So if it's max distance, then you will ensure that it hits both ways. And this is like absolutely devastating damage for the enemy, and something you really do want to think about. All right, so as we back, this is not the best back ever, but we'll make this work. We'll run back down in bot lane. We're just trying to keep our farm actually go mid. Right now, we do have enough people in bot lane. This wave is going to be dead in a second. So we'll go in here. We'll get this farm. But yeah, so after the early game, and in the early game, we just want to try and poke our opponents. We do outplay, or generally speaking, we do win most matchup because of the nature of the champion. And even if you don't win the matchup, you should be able to play somewhat safe because of her kit that allows her to do so. You're good at farming under turret. You're good at farming like shoving under turret on the enemy. You can play basically whatever fits you in this extent. Once we go out of the early game, we get to the mid to late game. In the mid to late game, SIVIR is a little bit different than a lot of other ADCs. And the reason for this is that, as I mentioned earlier, then SIVIR is what we call a I don't know why I cannot use my I don't know why it wouldn't allow me to use my keyboard for a second there. That was weird. All right, anyway, SIVIR is what we call a utility ADC, and this basically means that, as we talked about, you don't pick her in order to hard carry on her. Yes, of course you can carry games on her, that's not what I'm saying, but this is not like picking a Vayne and saying, well, I want to completely mechanically outplay my opponents. With SIVIR, you kind of say, well, I'm gonna have a little bit less damage than other ADCs late game, potentially, not necessarily, but potentially, but I'm gonna trade it off for a really good kit that, first of all, does good AoE damage. Secondly, we'll just use ult here to make sure we get it. Nice. Secondly, we traded off for putting this utility onto our teammates so we can use our ult, give our entire team movement speed to track down the enemy backline. And this is super devastating. Also, while our team is chasing down the backline of their team, then if their team tries to go for us, then what's going to happen is that we also have the ult on us, which basically means that we're really hard to catch up to as well. So it's just very, you make your whole team a bit more slippery for the enemy. You give them a lot more potential to dive their backline, and generally speaking, also to catch people off guard. If you see someone that's mispositioned, you can fire off your ult, burst the movement speed of your entire team, and just run that target down. So in the mid game, what we're going to be doing is, of course, we want to be utilizing this. And the way we do that is that we want to be playing around team fighting, of course. So, as an ADC player in the mid to late game, and especially as SIVIR, we want to be going into the mid lane such that we're as close as possible to all the objectives on the map. We're closer to all turrets. We're closer to the Baron and to Drakes. This is very important. Of course, as I've said in many of my other videos, if your mid laner is stubborn and does not want to move away from the mid lane, then of course you do have to go side lanes yourself, because you do have to make sure you keep your farm up. Farming is essential, and gold income from minions is very essential in this game, and especially as an ADC. All right, as we move back down here, I'm here. We could potentially be looking for an engage here, especially as they're pretty low, but so is my team. So this is like kind of iffy. On one side, I really want to ult, but we got to make sure that we take care of the Katarina. Katarina is really scary in this. And my entire team's like half HP there. All right, so right here, they are going in. I feel like this engage is half like pushing back again, so I'm not using my ult yet. I want to make sure that my ult is utilized whenever we do pop it. So this is kind of what we're looking to do. All right, so right here, I'm gonna stick in the background. I'm not gonna be popping my ult yet. We get a double, very nice. Right here, again, I'm kind of looking. We have Jax on our side. Right here, I'm actually gonna pop my ult such that we can potentially dive. I'm gonna flash out so I'm not in the middle of the action. And right there, very nicely, we completely annihilate them. Right here, what I want to do is I want to call my team to do Baron. Baron is an extremely good call here. Because we have 40 seconds on most of them. The Baron is a huge, that's like getting a full A, so that's a lot of gold for us if we can get this. We're going to go up there. We're just going to take this one. But the idea here in mid to late game is we want to play around team fighting. And team fighting on SIVIR basically means that you're playing the backline. You're using your ult not when it's necessarily oh god. Not necessarily when it's most convenient for you. Of course, you do have to use it for yourself as well. But you more have to have this perception of what is your team doing and when is it going to be most beneficial for your team. So in this scenario, I was like, okay, we killed 2 of them. There are 3 people there. They're half on their turret. They're not fully there. We can actually go for this dive. If I pop my ult, run a little forward, cast my Q, I'm pretty sure my team will move up with me and go for this. But with Severe in the general team fights, then you want to stay the back line. You want to damage whatever is closest to you. If a lot of people stack up, try and see if you can hit your boomerang on several targets at once. That's extremely good if you can do so, because it can actually kind of win you the full game. Make sure you use your W as well. It also gives you this extra attack speed, and just sit there, do as much damage as you can, kite backwards, and use your ult for your team most of the time. So yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense, that she is, even though she's very simple, she's a very strong ADC that can do quite a lot, and her damage is not bad. I would never claim that it's bad. It's not on par with a lot of other mainstream ADCs right now, but her utility makes up for that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you found it somewhat helpful or informative or entertaining. If you did, make sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe down below if you are new. And yeah, lastly, if you want to hang out with me live on stream, then go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. I would love to hang out with you guys, but that is going to be it for this one. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.